Okay, if you watched my previous video, you know the falling hammer, and I will put his information in the comments below this video, or actually in the information section below this video, in case you want to check him out, was kind of a dick, and he sent me these grips, these very cool Punisher grips for a SIG P229, knowing I'm going to have to go out and buy a new gun like this one right here to put them on. This is my new SIG P229 RX, and I went ahead and got the RX, like I said earlier, because, you know, my eyes are going, so I might as well have the red dot sight on there so I can actually hit something with it. Sold something that actually wasn't a gun to buy this, so don't really feel too bad about it. Sold an old tiller. Actually, it's not an old tiller. It was a practically brand new tiller, a big industrial sized tiller from when I was flipping houses that I used to use to tear up backyards and stuff. Sold it and was able to purchase this gun and have a little money left over. So got this gun, and now I'm really eager to put those grips on it. So I thought I would do that in this video today. And it's not just the grips he sent me, he also sent me this trigger. I believe this is from Armory Craft. I'll try to find the information for it and put that also in the description below this video. But I really like the looks of this, so I figured while I have the gun out and I'm putting the grips on it, I might as well put this on it too, because triggers are pretty easy to change in a SIG P229, so I shouldn't even be able to mess it up. So let's go ahead and get started here and do the changes. Okay, let's go ahead and get it torn down here. First, let's take out the magazine, set that aside, and then we will take the slide off of the gun here. Now, I am not going to safety check this, so y'all might want to be careful, because, you know, there's a pretty good chance you might get killed from this gun that you didn't watch me safety check. Now, this gun has the E2 style grip, so I'm going to take this little tool here they give you and get them off. When I first got one of these, I didn't know what the heck this thing was. I'm like, is this some sort of IUD insertion device or something? I didn't know what it was for. So it's actually for taking these grips off, and I'll show you here what you do with it. You just stick it up in there, and then once you have it in there, you just turn them, and it pops the sides of the grips up. And it's good to stick like a Q-tip or something under here once you get it pried up. And then when you pry up the other side, stick a little Q-tip under there. And they should slide right off. Well, by right off, I mean I won't have to break them. There we go. Came right off. Just going to do a little dry fit here to make sure they fit on there, and they fit on there perfectly, because you don't want to take the gun completely apart and do all this work and then find out the grips aren't even going to fit on it for one reason or another. I've had problems with this little doohigamajigger down here, this little thingamabitch right there that can be different sizes. This one looks like it's going to fit fine, so I can continue on here. Now, the first thing I have to do is take out the little takedown lever. You just kind of keep twisting on it till it comes out. It'll pop right out. Oop, right out there. Then you go take this out. Set it aside, making sure you don't lose that little spring there. There's a little spring on the side of it. Just make sure you don't lose that. Just set that aside. Then you just take this little spring out. All right, now I got to push this little pin out now that I've got the little block out there. So just push that on through and pull that through. And now my trigger should just slide up out of here. Take out this is the slide lock right here. I'm taking that out real quick just to get it out of the way. It doesn't have to come out for this to come out, but it is nice to get it out of the way. You just got to work with these. Just give them a little wiggle, little wiggly wiggle. You'll get them out eventually. You're just basically getting things out of little slots and little grooves in here, and it'll come to you once you've done it. Not always the easiest thing to do. There we go. Got it out right there. So now I'll just replace this trigger with the new one. I like Sig Sauers, but I do not really care for these triggers. Just don't like them much. So let's see how this one goes on here. Well, was there no pin in this bag for this? Did I lose it? Well, this trigger doesn't have the pin in it. I don't think I got to take it out of the other one, do I? No, there's no way I'd have to take that out of the other one. Well, I'm not seeing a pin in this one, so unfortunately, looks like I might not be able to put this trigger in today. Might have to wait because there's no pin in this one. There's a pin in this one, but I do believe it's integral to the piece here. I don't think it comes out. So I'm going to have to do a little research here and find out if there's supposed to be a pin for this piece. Well, it looks like I'm screwed on the trigger. It looks like either SIG changed their design or something, because the new trigger bars don't have a peg on them. The peg is on the trigger. This one is designed for one where the peg is on the trigger bar. I guess that's a change SIG has made. I'm not sure yet, but if that's the case, that would mean these triggers don't work with the newer SIG pistols. So right now, doesn't look like this one's going to work, so I'm going to put the old one back in. I am going to check one more thing here. I am going to check and see if there's any possibility that my SIG P229 Elite might use the same dimension trigger bar, but with just a slightly different design. And if that's the case, maybe I can just swap them out. Well, it looks like they're basically the same. There's a few minor machining difference, but it doesn't look like functionally there's any difference between them. So I'm going to go ahead and put the one from my old P229, my Elite, in the new gun, and put the new skeletonized trigger from Armory Craft on that trigger bar, and then put the new trigger bar back in my old gun with the trigger from my current P229, and hopefully they'll both function perfectly. We will have to see here. Now it does look like there's a slight difference in the cutouts for the side of the blocks here. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that the blocks go with the trigger they're supposed to go with, because they're cut differently for the different style triggers. So I'll be putting the block from the new gun in the old gun, the one from the old gun in the new gun. And like I said, hopefully once we're done, everything will still work. Okay, I've got all the new innards in the old gun. I've got the new trigger bar, the new block, the new trigger, and that's pretty much it. Those are the three pieces I had to put over from the new gun into the old gun, and appears to be working perfectly. So we will see. We'll have to take both these to the range tomorrow and check. But now that I've got this one put together, let's get the other one put together. All right, let's get the trigger in there. That's always a bitch. Slide stop back in. Boy, if you've done this 5 or 6 times, it gets a lot easier. Okay, it looks like everything went together properly, so let's put the grips back on it. The only thing is I didn't think about is I don't have any grip screws for these. I'm going to have to find some SIG grip screws. I know I've got some around, so I'll just have to find them really quick, and then we'll put this back together. I think I found a set here that will fit them. I might actually order a set of stainless ones for it, though. These are straight head screws. I'm not a big fan of the straight head screws for these. You never get them lined up properly unless you have some rubber washers. So I'm probably going to order some stainless hex head ones for it. Don't you hate when you're putting things back together and then you get that like a split second of it doesn't seem like it's working, but then it snaps back where it goes. Can't tell you how many times I've had that feeling that, oh fuck. Oh, okay. Let's look around here and make sure I didn't leave any pieces out. It's always a good thing to do. Looks like I put everything back together. And this gun doesn't work. Maybe I got to adjust that little screw. Maybe that's what it is. Okay, there you have it. I've got it all back together. Trigger is working fine. The reset on this thing is really short. I'm sure that's what it's meant to be, but it is very short. You just boop. I mean, it's got a really light trigger on the reset. So really liking it so far. It seems like everything internal wise, swapping the old for the new, etc. Doesn't seem like there was any problem with that because the differences were minor. You know, they would take like a millimeter off of this side, but they would add a millimeter to the other side. So overall, the tolerances were all the same. So everything went back together just fine. And both guns seem to be working perfectly. I will talk to SIG and make sure that's okay. But right now, seems like it's working fine. Pretty soon I'll get it here to the range and we'll see how it does. We'll see how this new trigger does. But as far as these grips go, they are looking very cool. So even though the falling hammer was kind of a dick by sending these to me because he made me have to go out and buy a gun to go with them. I'm kind of glad he did because these look awesome.